Hello everyone. So I know I look slightly different today because I'm using my ThinkPad X220's internal camera, and it is actually a good thing because I'm using my Logitech usual camera which is connected to my Raspberry Pi, and I actually have two of those Logitech cameras, and I have connected both of them to my Raspberry Pi, which is right now running somewhere. I can see it with some blinking lights, and finally I'm able to basically set up this truly headless Raspberry Pi based surveillance system. It is of course not really super fancy or complicated. It is very simple, and I'm still working on it. I'm still trying to improve it, but what I was able to do, I was able to set up nginx on this particular Raspberry Pi along with, of course, ffmpeg. I wanted to use ffmpeg, and I wanted to basically, set up this server that I will probably keep running. So it has been running since morning, and I think it is now working fine. Let me show you the videos. So I'm playing these videos from my browser, and I can also play these videos using ffplay. So let me show you the browser first. So this is my camera number 2. This is my camera number 1. So as you can see, there are different cameras, and there is a latency, there is some delay. In fact, there is a latency between these two cameras. So so there is a bus which is going in camera number 2, which is first of all, there is a delay. I can see the bus which is not turning, but even between these two cameras, they are not in sync, which is fine. I can always adjust these things using ffmpeg. Or to be honest, I don't really care. It's more about just I don't really mind. I think as long as there is a delay of a couple of seconds or few seconds, and as long as the image quality is decent, I think this is what you need, right? You don't really need like super HD quality, and this is not even HD quality. I'll probably talk about it in a minute. So let me just move these windows somewhere on top, and I'll keep it here. Maybe I'll keep it here, and let me explain how I did this setup. So if you remember, in the last video I talked about how to set up Raspberry Pi, like how to set up Raspberry Pi as a true headless setup. So in fact, even to set up things, you don't need any monitor or keyboard. So today, what I did, I of course configured it so that I can connect my webcam, I can play the feed, I can stream it over my network. So today, and first of all, before you do anything, make sure you update or upgrade your Raspbian. So I don't really use Ubuntu, but it's okay. I mean, everything is online, so you just search for, and whenever you're following any documentation, you will you will find these commands. So I keep a list of all these commands. So you need to do sudo apt-get update, then upgrade, and of course you will have your setup or your OS, which is now up to date. Now you need to install. This is something that you might not need to install, but basically I'm talking about nginx, and let me explain the setup I did, and then I of course changed it slightly. So nginx can be installed, and you can also install it with the rtmp module, because you can tell ffmpeg to read or not to read, to read or to. So the way ffmpeg works, you specify the input and it will give you output. So the input could be your camera, and the output could be a file with some conversion, or it could be, or you can basically send it to an rtmp feed, which you can set up using nginx. So you need to basically set up or install nginx with basically this rtmp module, and once it is installed, you can then configure it. So basically you need to modify this file called nginx.conf, which is in the etc nginx, nginx. So you can create a file, or you can actually create a separate file called rtmp.conf, and you can actually make sure that particular file path is included in your main nginx.conf file. But the main thing that you need to do in this particular file, you need to basically add these lines, and you can basically specify here the port number, which is 1935 whatever. I mean, I basically copied it from him. I think I was following the online documentation or the official documentation. I don't really remember. And specify the port number. Make sure these configurations where you say allow publish to 127.0.0.1. Without this, you won't be able to tell ffmpeg to basically stream at this IP address using rtmp. And then once you have the configuration set up, you can then restart your nginx. So when you install nginx, there is something weird. I was not really aware of it. It will also start the server. So after the installation is done, you have a server which is up and running. And at this stage, you can actually open localhost or maybe the IP address of your Raspberry Pi on your network, and it will open the nginx default page. So once this is done, restart nginx, and you can also verify using this command, of course, netstat, to see if something is running at this particular port. So once this is done, then all you need to do, you need to use ffmpeg to basically, read from your camera. And you can actually run two of these commands, which I did. So these are basically two different commands running in separate window terminals. I have separate, sessions. So I need to, of course, make it truly headless. I'll probably, write a script, and I'll worry about it. But right now there are two scripts running in two different sessions. So basically the script is, I'll not really explain the script because, or maybe I'll explain the script very quickly. So you have to specify the format, which is V4L2, usually for cameras, and you have to specify this input format, then video size. So you can check the video size. So basically you can see the available resolution of your webcam. So I think there is a command called ffmpeg -f v4l2 list format, and then you can specify the device, the camera. So in this case it is 0, and you can actually find out all the connected devices, connected cameras using this v4l2 -ctl command -fn list devices. So you can, once you know the device or the camera number, you can actually see, and once you know the resolution, you can specify the resolution. So for me, with one camera, 1920 into 1080 was a bit, it was fine, but with two cameras, both on Full HD, it was a bit slow. There was a lag, and usually you have to play with the command. But I think because I'm using this Raspberry Pi model B version 3, I guess, whatever, with 1 GB RAM, I think these settings work fine. And there is a delay, but the quality, because initially when I started, so whenever I use ffmpeg, I try with the default like input and output. Then I keep on adding these different options to see if I can improve the quality. So this particular, these particular configurations for example, the frame rate 24, you can specify the input, the video, the codec. So basically, if you use libx264, then it will ensure that it can be played almost anywhere. And then preset ultra fast. Again, for the output, you can specify the frame rate. I forgot the word cheese. I forgot. So basically, this is usually double of frame rate. And by the way, normally I do these things using a script. Even the recording that I'm doing right now is basically from a script. The same script, almost all the same arguments. But when I'm of course playing with a command, I wanted to, now there is sun, which is good. So it looks really good actually. Let me show you this. Like a big version. Sorry for the interruption. So it is a beautiful. It's a weird day. So it was raining, then it was sunny, then it is raining again. Anyways, so and again the bit rate, it is usually 1500 works fine for me. Anything above is something a bit, it was not. So again, as I mentioned, you have to play with the settings. Then buffer size, which is usually double of the bit rate. I'm not really an expert on ffmpeg, but I think over the period of time since I think last year, because I used to use OBS, then I think it has been like one and a half year. I think 1.5 year. I'm completely using scripts, ffmpeg based scripts. So now I think I know a lot of things, like different flags, different options that you need to pass to make your stream smooth. And then of course the output, which is in this case the format is of course FLV, rtmp, and here you will specify the IP address, which is of course local IP address, and the path /live/stream. So this particular /live/stream is something that of course you can later on modify, but you can also just learn about how nginx works. But later on I realized that because my ultimate goal is that I want a stream that I can play from wide range of clients. It could be VLC, most likely not VLC because I don't really use VLC, but I also have like a couple of Windows based machines where I tried and it was working fine. So all you need to do, you need to go to your VLC, type in this URL rtmp, and of course instead of 127.0.0.1 use your Raspberry Pi's actual IP address, and it will work straight away. But you can also use ffplay, great, right? But to play RTMP stream on a browser, you need to do something else, and that I realized after I experimented. So basically you need HLS format, and this HLS format is something that you need to specify. So instead of FLP RTMP, specify HLS, and then you have to specify this flag called delete segments. So, and then of course the path where you will create this stream. So basically this particular path is nothing but where HTML, where www HTML is basically a path to my Raspberry Pi's nginx root directory, or directories server, whatever directory root. So basically the default root location, and this particular stream.m3u8 is the index file. And basically the way HLS format works is if you don't specify if you don't specify this particular part here, -hls _ flags delete _ segments, then it will create this file called stream.m3u8, which is basically the index. But it will also create like multiple files with the name stream0.ts, stream1.ts, stream3.ts, and those TS files are basically individual like file segments, like actual video files, and it will keep on creating those files. And this particular index file, stream.m3u8, will basically play those file segments, but it will preserve the old video files, .ts files that are no longer needed. So you can just delete the old ones using this particular flag or this particular option here, and that is it. Now to play this particular file, so you can't really play this because you must be wondering that I can do probably the IP address of my Raspberry Pi /stream.m3u8. The moment you do it, it will basically give you this file, so you won't be able to play it. And to play it, you basically need some player, and fortunately the HLS format works really well with you can play. I'm not really sure because I'm still trying to learn and know a bit more about it. I think some browsers might be able to play this stream.m3u8 file, but I searched online and I found this particular simple HTML file where I think it will use a library, video.js, and it will then use this library to create this. So basically, this file that you're looking at is basically this particular So the moment you open it, let me just open it one more time for you. So if you open it, you will see this, and if you click on the play, it will actually start playing, right? So this is something great. And what you can also do is you can, as I mentioned before, you can also play this using your ffplay. So let me do it. Why not? Let me open my ffplay, and the URL would be HTTP. In my case, okay, let me use, can I use the host name? I should be able to use the host name, I believe. Stream.m3u8. Yes, we have this. So basically the same. And if you compare the ffplay latency, it is actually the fastest. So the things will appear first on this particular window, then it will appear on this particular window, and this, of course, if you're basically looking at the same feed, is it? Yeah, there's a car which is coming, and the car will appear on the top right corner here. Yep, in just maybe after like 20 microsecond, whatever. So okay, let me just close it. So you can use FF Play as well, which is wonderful, right? Because it is really fast, and yeah, that is it. So far I'm quite happy with the setup. It is working perfectly, and the next step is to set up some kind of a way to access this outside my network. I know about dynamic DNS, no IP. I'm not massively comfortable setting up port forwarding on my router, because first you need to make sure that whenever you open your public IP, which is of course, you can find it by going to what is my IP. So whenever someone goes to that particular IP, port 80 needs to be forwarded to your local IP, which again, I'm not really sure if I'll do it. Most likely not, but maybe I'll find another way. And I'm sure there is another way. So I'm not really sure if I'll eventually do something like that. But even in this particular setup, there are some improvements that I want to do. For example, this particular URL, web-based URL, I can't really open it from my mobile, even on the same network. There is some error. So maybe it's more about, okay, something wrong with or maybe there's something about this video.js library. I'm not really sure, but I'll figure out. And I might want to also capture the audio, which is right now, is it? So if I look at the script, I don't really think it is, because usually I have this -an flag. Oh, I need to, yes, I don't really see any argument, because if you pass in -an, it will not take the audio, but I don't really think it is being captured right now. So definitely I'll think about it. And I didn't realize that this particular video is not running at all. Now it is running. Okay, perfect. So this is all good. And yeah, about the improvements, I'm going to, so apart from the audio, I was thinking maybe, because my Logitech camera, it has mic, of course not the speakers, but of course it is connected to Raspberry Pi. I'm not really looking for two-way audio. I think this is, to be honest, even this setup is more than enough for me. I can do wonderful things with this. I can probably add some kind of a timestamp here, because it is ffmpeg. And I will also maybe think about what else. I was thinking of maybe keeping some recordings, because because there is a file segment. So maybe I'll try to I'll figure out if maybe it can keep past 1 hour or past 1 day's recording. I'm sure it is possible, because those TS files, as I mentioned, are something that I'm deleting right now, but I can specify, and I think that is all you need, right? The TS files. All right, so happy with the setup so far, and I'm slightly proud. I'll probably celebrate, but that is it. And by the way, of course, in this video, my intention, like always, is to make sure that you learn something, and you also basically figure out a way to what is happening to you. This particular window was maybe this is funny. Okay, anyways, so this setup is quite good. I like it, and I am now thinking of maybe making sure that whenever the Raspberry Pi, because of course these are nothing but some scripts that I'm running, I have to ensure that these scripts are run whenever I have my server rebooted, and everything should work. Whenever you restart. Right now I am using 2 cameras and they are working fine. Although the resolution is not awesome, it is. What is the resolution? I think it is 640. So it's not really HD, but I don't need HD, to be honest. All right, that is it. That is all I wanted to talk about and share in this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you learned something new. Thank you very much. Bye bye.